Where's the world going to now? Many of us are confused and really asking this question because, yeah, it's the days of coronavirus and lockdown, and in some places like here in New Zealand, where I'm sitting now, lockdown is going down to level 2, and it seems like maybe the normal life is going to come back, but many of us don't really want the normal life to come back, what was called normal, because we were always waiting for something to happen, like because the normal life didn't feel healthy for us at all. So part of us is like happy, like finally something happening in a global way. Maybe humanity is going to wake up. But on the other hand, many of us also see with a lot of worry the way that governments are using this crisis. Some would say that the bad guys, whatever they are, caused it. I don't know, but I do know that people who love control would do anything to have more control. I mean, it's simple. You use especially if you're an opportunist, which many politicians and many business people are. This is an opportunity, whether they created it or not. It's an opportunity to create more, to put more people under more control. And people who love that would try to do that. Governments, unless they are more enlightened governments, which some started, maybe New Zealand is like that, maybe Iceland is like that, maybe Sweden, but most places are not like that. So governments and corporations, Facebook, and whatever, will try to use the situation with the excuse of, oh, we're just taking care of your health. Of course. Oh, thank you so much. Taking care of our health, and by that they will try to force us to push vaccines into our body, and to um, yeah, to take the freedom of the individual, and the freedom to travel, the freedom to have the freedom that we knew before, which was quite good. So we're watching, and part of us wants back to what was before, because it wasn't normal, but we had freedom in the amount that we're afraid that will be taken from us. Um, in another way, we want something big to change for humanity, because we know that the way we dealt with the planet is unhealthy. Just look where I'm sitting. Yes, it's Corona days, but I'm sitting in New Zealand, and it's amazing here because it's still protected in those places in the world. Not many people, so life itself is so rich. So what I think is going to happen next, here is my kind of prophecy and wish and question, and also a mission for me and for those who are watching it. I think those who can will try to control more. Yes. Against that, there will be people who will just want to rebel. Like, how dare you? You're taking our civil rights away from us. No, so there's going to be a lot of rebellious energy coming against it and trying to fight with authorities. At the same time, there's going to be some other movement, which I find more interesting for me, which is a movement of awakening. Global awakening to the interconnectedness of this planet, and more than that, even the planet and the cosmos. Part of the problem is that not only that we think very local and we don't think global. Some of the problem is that because we think global and not universal. We are part of an intelligent universe. So there's going to be also a movement of awakening, and heart's awakening, soul's awakening. And here's the question, and that's a question for me as well as for you, and I would love you to write me back or write responses and dare people with this question too. So I dare you. what are the doable steps that us as humanity can take and should take to become more aware, to create a better world? What's going to happen and what can happen? It's not only like do this, what you should do, like probably many vegetarian people will start as like, oh, just stop eating meat. Thank you. We heard that before, and maybe I appreciate it's your opinion, but I want more than that. I want like seeing how the world, without preaching to other people what they should do, but actually envisioning what's going to happen and what can I do also, and how can I see? Can I dream it in a good way? Because it's very easy to dream like, oh, the horror film of everything becomes like China and they're controlling us and they're putting vaccines in our body and microchips and you can't go to the supermarket without being or definitely travel without being vaccinated, and taradan, we're going to be controlled and with face detections, and even this video is going to be removed from the internet because it's maybe too controversial. Yeah, it's easy for us to dream this way, like the horror scenario. But hey, what about a good scenario? What would happen if I dare to dream a good but realistic scenario that I can see, this is going to happen. So here's my 2 cents to that, and I'm really open for more. I think I see three things. One, more and more people will understand that we need to live in communities, and we'll start to move towards community living and not the isolated bubble of nuclear household, and family. We'll move more towards a community, and that will, open up big questions of culture in community, sexuality in community, money in community, power in community, communication, lots of skills. Of course, also how to make gardens, how to raise animals, how to raise animals in humane way, how to relate to the forests, all these kind of things, how to build these kind of professions that are going to be needed. Two, when I dream what good can come out of it, I think that humanity is can wake up to the fact that parts of humanity are aiming to control the rest. We know that, and none of us almost trust politicians and corporate people. Even people who work for them don't trust them. Even them don't trust each other. Of course, maybe they trust themselves, but I don't think so too. So humanity might kind of wake up and say like, enough, and we want to maybe make big investigations, like real ones, with real power to check what happened in the last 50 years since World War II or whatever it is. Just like look at ourselves, have a real retrospective gaze into ourselves and say we really need to change structures. The old structures are not good in a fundamental way. They're going to destroy humanity and destroy the planet, and we're doomed if we continue this way. So that's another thing that can the waking up of mainstream to understand that something is inherently wrong in the way that we dealt with, and starting really investigating, not like hippies investigation, but a real investigation into financials, politics, states, powers of health organizations, and all that. So these are ways that I see that can come out of that. And the third one is, I think, a new monetary system is gonna be needed, and people will start to really look at the what we took as for granted in the last whatever hundreds of years, the economic system, especially in the postmodern world, and we're gonna more people are gonna look for alternative, and it's not only cryptocurrency, it's also barters and creating currencies and creating economy that it is based on different assumptions, because underneath economy there are philosophical assumptions about nature, resources, humanity, and power. And if we're questioning all these, we might actually come with new structures of economy. Here's one suggestion. I'm not an economist, but I know that in ancient times, one of the things you couldn't do is um, gather and hold things for a long time, because it would just die before people made it. Okay, let's have it as gold or diamonds or something that don't rot. But when you could only have meat or fruits, you can't save it. You can save it a day or two. You have to share it. You have to share it. And even if you had olives and wheat, after a while, it would rot, and rodents will come and eat your thing. The banking system, the idea that you can gather and gather and gather millions and billions, was not there in ancient times. And there is something healthy in this. Nature doesn't work like that. Nature doesn't gather. You need to you keep some for yourself, what you need, and then you have to share. Otherwise, nature will take it in a different way. So economy that is based on, yes, take care of yourself, and when you have enough, just the natural thing is start giving. And if you're not giving, it will be taken from you, like taxing savings, actually, instead of taxing income. Yes, have income as much as you need, and beyond a certain amount you have to give, and you're not going to be taxed if you are giving and donating and giving to each other, stuff like that. Again, I'm not an economist, but I just know a little bit of ancient ideas, and some of them are actually in the Torah. I won't go deep into that. uh, but these are the ways that I can imagine that humanity can go to. It's doable. It's not. It's realistic. Let's put it like that. And as one of my friends says, let's be realistic. Let's do the impossible. Now it's not even impossible. I think we all know that actually what's impossible is to go back to normal. It's impossible because it's unhealthy, and it's gonna destroy the beautiful planet that we live in, destroy humanities. The planet will survive, but humanity will not. So, what do you think? What else? Give me advice. Give us all. How can we all wake up? What's going to happen if we dream? Dare yourself to dream good dreams for humanity. What's going to happen? Tell me.